Hello everyone, my name is Kitetsu and welcome back to my channel. As I said earlier, this is the second video I'm making tonight and I'm very busy, so I'm going to make this a very quick one. But how could I not talk about the brand new models they've just shown for the Stormcast Eternals? And I know some of you are fed up of Stormcast Eternals, but this article is for the people who do like them. And basically we've got two brand new characters, and let's get this out straight away. Look how cool that looks. Now, I remember looking at the General's Handbook when Games Workshop sent it to me, and I haven't done a specific video on that General's Handbook yet, but I have been using it in the background for all of the videos I'm making talking about the new edition, so it's been very invaluable. I remember seeing all of these new names, and we had this person, Astreia, I'll go with Astreia Solbright and Aventis Firestrike, and I was thinking, who are all these characters? Are they even characters? Are they units of some kind that we just haven't seen? And it turns out they are indeed new characters for the Stormcast. And the first one, which I think is by far the most impressive, is Aventis Firestrike. I'm wondering if we will be able to take some non-named character versions of these, because he is a very cool model. It would be nice to know that we could take something like this without the Hammers of Sigmar specific rules that he comes with. But wow, what a glorious model. He looks absolutely amazing. He's definitely channeling that kind of Empire vibe, and it certainly makes me miss the Empire. But yeah, I think he looks absolutely fantastic. I like the fact that his head looks incredibly menacing. I was a bit worried when I saw the artwork down below when I was scrolling before I kind of clicked on this properly. In fact, let's just show you that artwork I'm talking about. It looks a bit too much like a kind of happy goat there, I'm not gonna lie. It's a cool piece of artwork, but it just doesn't quite capture that menacing aspect that it's supposed to have. And yeah, the model has completely nailed it. But the wings here, they just look so good. And again, more scenic bases, which I'm loving. And let's not forget Astreia Solbright, because again, although we've seen this model before, we haven't seen her quite in this much detail and from this angle, and she looks fantastic as well, and she's got that very scenic base that she's on too. But what I like is the fact that, again, they're not neglecting the characters in this edition, and they're giving them these really exciting and detailed backstories. Astreia, for example, she is from the Sacrosanct Chamber, and it made sense that we we're going to get some heroes for the Sacrosanct, but she is also of the Hammers of Sigmar, the Shimmersouls, and basically, if you know anything about the Stormcast Eternals at the moment, they have a terrible flaw. They're essentially immortal, so every time they die, they can be reforged. But every time they're reforged, they forget a little piece of themselves and they become more primitive and basically more autonomous, and it's pretty distressing and depressing for all of these people. They're losing their sense of self, they're losing their identities, and it's very unpleasant. Astreia Solbright is on a quest to try and cure that problem. She wants to make sure that when people are reforged and they return from dying, that they're going to be as good as they ever were. She doesn't want them forgetting themselves, she doesn't want them getting worse, and you know, this is such a widespread problem that it's even affecting Ventus Hammerhand now. So yeah, basically let's really quickly take a look at her war scrolls, and I have to apologise for the fact that for some reason this is such a low res image. But 12-inch movement, that's very fast, 7 wounds, same as the Nighthaunt models actually that we've just had announced, a 3+ save and very high bravery, very good save, and yeah, she's no slouch in combat, 4 attacks, hitting and wounding on 3s, -1 ren, D3 damage, you know, that's good stuff. She's not going to be afraid of getting up close and personal to, you know, anything basically. But also we've got the stat line there for a Dracoline for the first time, and initially I was a bit disappointed because it has a worse stat line to a gryph charger, because it's exactly the same but its rend is not as good. It's a -2 for a gryph charger, but fortunately they have Thunderous Pounce and they can reroll charge rolls, and when they do charge they do D3 damage instead of 1. So they're not as kind of razor sharp as a gryph charger is, but they have more power and therefore they deal more damage, so it makes sense. Spirit Flask, we've seen these abilities before, but we've got Cycle the Storm, and basically once per turn when a friendly Stormcast Eternal model is slain within 18 inches, instead of removing it, you can heal a wound to it instead. so that is pretty cool, but she can't use it on herself. I'm pretty sure Aventis Firestrike has that exact same ability too. Then you've got Supernatural Roar, which means that any enemies are basically at -1 bravery around these things, so another reason that the Dracolines or Dracolines are better than gryph charges. She's got some sort of mediocre spells, nothing too fancy. The Prime Electrids is good because she can do a supercharged arcane bolt, but her command ability is absolutely brilliant because it has 3 different abilities depending on when you choose to use it. If you use it in the hero phase, then Evocators can auto-cast Empower. That's the spell that means that a unit can reroll failed wound rolls, I believe, so that's fantastic, just being able to auto-use that. If it's used in the shooting phase, then the Castigators can basically use both of their powering up abilities. You can go and check that out on their war scrolls. And in the combat phase, you can power up the Sequitors for their defense and their attack for that combat phase. So again, Sequitors are frightening enough as it is, but having them able to reroll failed saves and I think it's hit or possibly wound rolls as well in the same combat phase, that's pretty terrifying. So overall, she's an interesting character with some good rules. Not crazily overpowered, but that's the way it should be. Interesting here that it says she's had some bad run-ins with vampires. I guess to do with searching for creatures that resurrect themselves from the dead without the negative effects of this flaw that the Reforging has. So it's all part of her study, and it says she was originally a Magus of Light from Haish. So yeah, great character, great backstory, can't wait to find out more about her in the battle tome. Next we have Aventis, and this guy is very powerful. He costs a lot of points and he's a very good wizard. He's good in combat but not ridiculously overpowered, and in fact he almost slightly brings to mind the Star Drake, that it's powerful in combat but not too powerful. But he is the Grand Magister of Hammerhal, and he has a particular rivalry with Khorne, which is very interesting, and hopefully that will tie in with Korgus Cole, who's one of my favourite Khornate characters. He wants to take one Chaos Warrior's life for every citizen of the Great Parch that died during the Red Century, so he's all about this burning hot revenge that he wants to take out on the followers of Chaos. But in terms of his war scroll, and again, sorry for it being very blurry, he's got 10 wounds instead of the 7 that Solbright has, and he can move further. In fact, 14 inches again is a very good movement characteristic. Nothing too crazy on that stat line. 4 attacks, -1 rend, d3 damage, hitting and wounding quite easily. The Tauralon does 2 damage and has rend, so again that's actually pretty damn impressive. In fact, his Tauralon is almost better in combat than he is, apart from that range difference. But Cycle the Storm we've seen. Meteoric Strike, he can cause mortal wounds when he charges. He can cause mortal wounds when he is attacked and he's had a wound inflicted against him, but that's on a 5+. Spirit Flasks we've seen. Thunderous Crown is interesting. He can heal a wound allocated to him every hero phase, so again that really adds to his durability, especially with, I assume, yes, he's got a 3+ save. But the thing that I absolutely love about his abilities is Comet Trail. You add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with missile weapons used by Stormcast Eternals that can target a unit that he has flown over, basically. I really like ranged units in Age of Sigmar. Although they don't want to make them overpowered, something like this is definitely interesting, and I want to take advantage of that so that I can use my Judicators more. But yeah, other than that, he's a very powerful wizard because he can cast and unbind 2 spells, which in the new edition we already know is going to be a very powerful thing. Then he's got a Pyro Electric Blast, combining electricity and fire by the sounds of it. It's another one of those spells where you draw a line and anything that's under it will suffer d3 mortal wounds. He's also got the ability to do the supercharged arcane bolt that Solbright can, and other than that he's just got his command ability, which is Fiery Orator, and basically he can pick a friendly Hammers of Sigmar unit within 12 inches and they add 1 to wound rolls, which is again fantastic. But it's a shame that it's wound rolls and not hit rolls, because obviously we've already got a few ways to buff wound rolls with the the evocators and stuff like that. And I believe the Hammers of Sigmar, the Liberators, obviously it's the Warhammer that's their signature weapon, and it's actually the hit roll that's a 4+, and the wound roll is a 3+, so it would have been far better if it was improving those hit rolls. What it does mean though is that Warblades have suddenly become much more viable and interesting for Liberators, because now they will be able to hit and wound on a 3 for 20 points less than a Sequitur, so a very cool option there. But otherwise that's all we need to know, and it doesn't tell us when they're going to be available, but I assume it's not going to be too long. But yeah, that's my video. I know it's a bit of a whistle-stop tour of these new units, but let me know down below what you think of them. I particularly love this. I think it looks fantastic, and I also want to have a whole unit of these. So she's a very cool figure that I'm almost certainly going to buy as well. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and hit the bell icon so you know when my videos come out. And otherwise, I will see you guys really soon.